Russia attacked Ukrainian soldiers with a 1.5-ton thermobaric bomb. President Zelensky said the generals hid the truth about Kharkov. The U.S. Department of Defense admitted that Russian forces prevailed in Kharkov. EU countries highly appreciate Russia's effectiveness in banning LNG transshipment. Russia attacked Ukrainian soldiers with a 1.5-ton thermobaric bomb. Russia released a video of an ODAB-1500 thermobaric bomb attacking a building suspected of being a gathering point for Ukraine's drone units and forward informants in Vovchansk. Russian media today released a video from an unmanned aerial vehicle, UAV, showing the moment the guided thermobaric bomb ODAB-1500 UMPK attacked a building believed to be a gathering point for many Ukrainian units in the forward city. Vovchansk is in Kharkov province. In the video, the Russian UAV monitors a high-rise building located in downtown Vovchansk, before the ODAB-1500 bomb crashes into a position between two buildings and explodes. The intense explosion covered part of the target area, while creating a large column of smoke and shock waves spreading around. Ukrainian soldiers not only deployed air traffic control systems and forward pointing, but also deployed first-person drones, FPV drones, from this compound. Precise strikes made the enemy force has no chance of survival, said the Warrior of North account, which specializes in posting documents about the Russian Northern Army participating in the Kharkov front. The Russian Ministry of Defense and the Ukrainian Army have not commented on the video. Thermobaric weapons can create explosions that are more destructive than some traditional bombs and missiles. With the ODAB-1500 bomb, the primary explosive charge activates at a height of 10 m and disperses a flammable fuel mixture in the form of a cloud. The secondary explosive charge then detonates the cloud, creating a massive fireball, shockwave, and vacuum that drains the surrounding oxygen. Russia has not announced specific parameters of the ODAB-1500 bomb, but the smaller ODAB-500 model has a killing radius of about 300 m. Russia began deploying the ODAB-1500 bomb fitted with the Unified Navigation and Lifting Module, UMPK, for the campaign in Ukraine from the beginning of the year, targeting bases with trenches and fortified structures. Vovchansk city is located about 7 kilometers from the border, has an area of more than 70 square kilometers and a population of more than 17,000 people before the outbreak of war. It is one of the focal points of the offensive campaign launched by Moscow against Kharkov province from May 10. Roman Semenuka, deputy governor of Kharkov province, said on May 20 that Russian forces controlled 40% of the Vovchansk area. Governor Ola Syniehubov later said that the front line now runs along the river that cuts through the town, declaring that Russian forces' plan to quickly control the northern part of Kharkov province had failed. President Zelensky said the generals hid the truth about Kharkov. Ukrainian President Zelensky believed that his generals were hiding the truth from him about the situation on the Kharkov front, and shouted at them. The Economist, UK, quoted a source in the Ukrainian government as saying that Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky believed that his generals were hiding the truth from him about the situation on the Kharkov front, and shouted at him. Their face. President Zelensky's purported rampages were mentioned in a May 21, 2024, report on the situation in the Kharkiv region, where Russian forces have gained significant bases over the past month. According to British newspaper Newsweek, Ukrainian soldiers deployed there were angry at this development. Some blame the US and its allies for inadequate and untimely aid, while others suspect incompetence, or even betrayal, by military commanders. Denis Yaroslavsky, a local unit commander in Kharkov, complained that the fortifications that were supposed to stop the Russian advance did not really exist. In a recent interview with The Economist, Mr. Yaroslavsky said that President Zelensky is being kept in a warm bath, implying that the Kyiv leader has only heard positive reports about the situation on the Kharkov front lines from it was his assistant, but the truth was quite the opposite. A source from the Ukrainian government also revealed to The Economist that President Zelensky had a conflict with Ukrainian generals after he was accused of not understanding or grasping the whole truth about the frontline situation. The tense relationship between President Zelensky and the military leadership is said to stem from him placing his political goals above military goals, which was previously reported by Ukrainian and international media. Reported. In December 2023, the Ukrainskaya Pravda newspaper said that President Zelensky was actively sabotaging Mr. Valery Zaluzhny, who was then Ukraine's most senior general, to support Mr. Alexander Syrsky, who is currently the commander-in-chief of the Soviet Union. Ukrainian Armed Forces. The U.S. Department of Defense admitted that Russian forces prevailed in Kharkov. Pentagon spokesman Patrick Ryder said the U.S. Department of Defense admitted that Russian forces were approaching the Kharkov area on the way to fighting. "I don't have specific numbers to provide, but we know there are tens of thousands of Russian soldiers in Ukraine. Near the Kharkov area, Russia is launching a new attack and gaining an advantage," Pentagon spokesman Patrick Ryder said, responding to a reporter's question about how many Russian soldiers are stationed in Ukraine. Ukraine admits that the situation in the Kharkiv region is very difficult for its army. The Ukrainian General Staff said Ukrainian military forces had to relocate to a more favorable position near Vovchansk and Lukyansk. The Ukrainian military command has dispatched additional reserve troops to the above areas. On May 16, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky held a meeting with officials of the Supreme Commander-in-Chief in Kharkov, admitting that the situation in the front-line area was extremely difficult. The Russian Ministry of Defense further informed that the Russian army has liberated a number of points in the Kharkov region. On May 14, the media reported that Russian troops were advancing deep into the enemy's defense lines. Russian forces first attacked the Kharkiv region in February 2022 in a special military operation, then gradually withdrew before Ukraine's lightning counterattack in September of the same year. Since then, Russia's Belgorod region has been regularly subjected to Ukrainian drone and artillery attacks. In March, Russian President Vladimir Putin suggested that Moscow may need to establish a buffer zone inside Ukraine. Kyiv officials have repeatedly said they do not believe Russia has enough forces to take the city of Kharkov. EU countries highly appreciate Russia's effectiveness in banning LNG transshipment. European Union (EU) diplomats say it will take the EU several weeks to introduce further sanctions on Russia over the conflict in Ukraine, although the Union backs the measures, including for the first time restricting Russian liquefied natural gas (LNG) exports. According to EU diplomats, Belgium, Germany, and France have asked the European Commission (EC) to assess whether the ban on LNG transshipment at European ports will affect the Russian economy more than the EU. EU diplomats say they are racing to quickly impose a 14th package of sanctions before Hungary takes over the EU presidency in July. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán, who maintains a relationship with Russian President Vladimir Putin, in the past, has tried to block aid to Ukraine and restrictions on Moscow. During diplomatic discussions last week, Hungary's special envoy warned that Budapest would block any measures that would drive energy costs higher in Europe. Hungary has been critical of restrictions on Russia and has previously opposed EU sanctions packages, saying they hurt the EU itself more than Russia. These sanctions require unanimous approval by all member states. Last month, the Kremlin said Russia would seek to overcome any illegal sanctions imposed by the EU on LNG operations, claiming any measures would be counterproductive for the industry. European industry. Russia used to be the EU's top pipeline gas supplier. However, after the Russia-Ukraine conflict broke out, the bloc sharply reduced gas imports from Russia. The share of Russian pipeline gas in EU imports fell from more than 40% in 2021 to around 8% in 2023.